Welcome to Thomistic Womanhood. We are continuing the series on truth, the Beauty, Truth, and Goodness series, and this video is no princess thinking. And in other words, I mean be realistic about everything, be clear-eyed about everything. When you are dating, it's important, I talked about this earlier, you want to understand the realities of dating for women. You want to have a general plan. It has to be a flexible plan, obviously, because another person is involved in it, this future guy. You want to have some general idea of where you want your life to go and your dating life, your love life. Don't be ashamed to do that. A lot of people act like it's silly, but it's not. It's actually crucially important, so don't let them talk it down. But having said all that, you want to be realistic. You are not going to be successful in dating. You're not going to be successful attracting a man who you're happy with, he's happy with you, and you get this great relationship. You're not going to get that if you're not realistic. Part of dating is being selective. It is very easy to waste time on men that are not going to give you what you want. And you have to be very realistic. And sometimes you have to be almost cold-heartedly honest with yourself. Don't ignore red flags. Don't over-believe in romantic fantasies. This is what I mean when I say princess thinking. Don't think that every man's wonderful just because your feelings for him are so strong that love will conquer all and somehow everything will work itself out. Every man has flaws. And some of those flaws are big enough to actually shipwreck the relationship. Some of those flaws are big enough to where you can't even get into a relationship with them. And that's where we get these situationships. And it is a flaw because a lot of men have the flaw of cowardice and they don't want to sit down and tell a girl, I'm just not into you like that. And rather than actually tell a woman that, they would rather let her keep chasing. And that can be an issue us women fall into. We're very empathetic and understanding and nurturing. And sometimes, especially when you really like a guy, it can be hard to tell when he's actually kind of rejecting you. You have to be very clear-eyed about things. And then having said that, you have to be clear-eyed and you have to be honest with what you're seeing, because all the knowledge in the world isn't going to help you if you don't act on it. If you are seeing these red flags, but you're kind of brushing them aside, don't do that, because there is somebody great out there and you're just delaying meeting him and being happy with him if you're wasting time with these other guys, And then also, once you've found a good guy, be realistic about what you're getting into. No guy is perfect. There will always be quirks and little personality mismatches. Obviously, the big things should match up. You guys should both genuinely like and be attracted to each other and feel happy and lucky to have each other in your life. That should be present for both of you. You should have, generally the same morals and values. You should have generally the same, religious outlook and political views. They should mostly align. Obviously you guys are separate people. You're never going to completely see eye to eye on everything. You should at least generally match up, So those big things, yes, should be there. Same values and morals, same life goals. You should both want to get married. You should both want to have kids. You should have discussed things like finances, children, domestic chores, who's going to stay at home with the kids, who's going to go to work. Are you going to do the chores at home? The dishes and everything is he. Are you going to be a stay-at-home mom? Maybe you want to work. You and him have to work that out. And so there has to be a general and sincere agreement there. And I say sincere. One or both of you should not be agreeing to something simply because you like the other person and don't want to lose them. But assuming that stuff is all in place and that you guys sincerely, genuinely agree on the big stuff. Having said that, there's going to be smaller things that are kind of quirks, smaller things that, maybe they're side effects of, the bigger things. So let's say you really wanted to be a stay-at-home mom and that takes money, especially in today's economy. So you got with a guy who's very ambitious and he makes a lot of money. Well, the side effect of that, it's kind of like the dark side, the shadow of this benefit is that, well, he's gone a lot, he works a lot, you know, well, that's not fun. And that's something you're going to have to be realistic about what you're getting into, you know. Are you going to be able to handle, you know, maybe eating dinner alone a lot of nights? Are you going to be able to, you know, get by with maybe only spending time with him, like quality time with him on the weekends? Are you going to be able to handle that? Or is that something you're going to feel resentful for? On the other hand, you know, maybe he has different dreams for his life. Let's say he always wanted to be a teacher. You know, he has a very strong desire to, you know, help youth, and he wants to be a teacher. And because of that, well, he doesn't really make a lot of money, but, you know, he's got a great heart. He's good with kids. You trust him, blah, 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 you know, so he's got all those other things. However, the side effect of those good qualities is, well, he's also not as concerned about money. So he works a job where, you know, maybe you guys are going to kind of have to budget pretty tightly, you know, during your marriage. Is that something you can live with? Are you going to always resent him that, you know, oh, he didn't live up to his potential, he could have made more money, you know, and we're here struggling because he doesn't want, you know, are you going to resent that? So you want to be realistic about what you're getting into. Love will not conquer all. You want to have a clear-eyed view of things. The other thing, you know, you want to be realistic and kind of keep a healthy distance, especially when you're first dating, you know, because you don't really know this guy, you know, you don't know what kind of person he is. He could be married, he could be an axe murderer. So you want to make sure that, you know, you kind of keep a healthy distance in the beginning, you know. Don't see him every day, you know, try to see him maybe just like once a week, you know. Again, this is in the beginning, the first few months of dating. After you know him and you guys are like in like an official relationship, it's different. But in the beginning, you know, you want to kind of keep a little distance there and kind of get to know him and evaluate him. And basically, you want to pace yourself so you're not swept away by your feelings. You want to try and maintain a clear view of him. And if you're seeing him constantly, it can lead to kind of like that love bombing, you know, and then you don't really get an accurate view of him and you fall in love with him before you really have a chance to know who he is and whether he's a good fit. And that can cause a lot of problems. And you want to also be honest with yourself about where the relationship is heading. Men, if they love you and they really like you, I would say within like 6 to 12 months, if they like you and they want to get married, you know, and the other things in their life are in place and there's not some extenuating circumstance, somewhere between 6 to 12 months, a guy will propose to you if he loves you and, you know, and he thinks you're the one. So if it's been longer than a year and you guys are still dating and you're like, I don't really know where this is going, you know, that's a red flag, and you should be honest with yourself about that. And, you know, and maybe ask yourself, is this really heading where I want it to go? Am I wasting time? Again, this is not a pleasant question to ask yourself because especially when you've sunk a lot of time into a guy, it can be very painful to be like, you know what, I don't think this is leading where I'm hoping it's leading. So that's something you want to be honest with yourself about. You know, it's another area of honesty in dating and attracting men because, again, you're not going to marry every person you date, you know. So there will be a selection process. You know, you're going to have to get to know these guys, and some of these guys aren't going to be right for you, and others, you know, maybe you like him, but he doesn't like you. So you have to kind of cycle through men, you know, until you find the right one. And you can't do that if you're clinging to like, you know, princess thinking and fantasies and, oh, well, I know it'll just work out. Like love conquers all. You know, you have to be realistic about it as well. So yeah, that's that. Hope that was helpful.